If you are sending cold emails for your B2B business, I'm pretty sure that you have stuck upon cold email infrastructure, and you've been always wondering, like, how do I set it up properly? How do I make sure that my deliverability is on top? How to make sure that my domains never get burned? And that's the topic for today's video. Today I want to talk about the simplest yet the most effective setup, in my opinion, for sending cold emails in 2025 and probably even 2026. Even though the updates come pretty often, still I believe there are a couple of main things that you have to follow if you want your emails to land in your prospects' primary inboxes. As you can imagine, cold email infrastructure matters because even if you have a great offer, if you have a really well-defined ICP, it still won't work because people just don't see your emails. It's in the spam folder, and who checks the spam folder and afterwards thinks, I think that's a good offer, yeah, I'll talk to this person. Almost nobody. Hence, your reputation really matters a lot. And if you don't land in the prospects' inboxes, I mean, that's a big issue, and you need to find a way to fix it. And of course, that all of the email providers like Gmail and Outlook, they are much stricter with the rules and laws this year. So a lot of even outbound agencies have disappeared just because they couldn't find a way to go around all of those new requirements and regulations. And yeah, they pretty much disappeared because of that. And why do you think you're better than them? If the outbound agencies couldn't fight this, you have to be even more attentive to this topic. So really the traits of great cold email infrastructure: it should be cost effective. You don't have to spend too much money on cold email infrastructure. Even though it is important, it is the base for your entire sales system. It still doesn't require you to invest like thousands of euros in it per month. It should be, of course, diversified. You never put all your eggs in one basket. You diversify. You make sure that you have a couple of different providers you use, or a couple of different tools that you are leveraging, right, to make sure that if something happens with X provider, you always can switch to the different one, because you just have, for example, 30% of your infrastructure for this specific partner, right, and you don't lose that much. It has to be reliable, right? So the tool has to comply with all of the newest features and updates, so you don't have to stress about it, of course, because why would you if there is a software for it, right? Also, it has to be scalable, so you should be easily adding new domains, new email accounts if it's needed. If you need more volume, you can easily do it without any issues. And of course, compliant, as I've said, so it should have all of the settings for SPF, DKI, etc. And of course, unsubscribe handling. And so specifically for the technological stack, there are a couple of tools which I use. The first of them is Primeforge. Primeforge is a tool where you can centralizedly purchase the domains for both Google and Microsoft Office, which gives you the best deliverability on the market. It's easy to set up and navigate everything within one platform. If you're an agency, for example, you can create multiple work spaces there and manage all the clients from one platform, and it gives you really great pricing and quality, right? So if we go to the Primeforge, we can quickly log in, and as you can see here, I have a couple of domains for our own company, right? And of course the mailboxes. And you might think like, Philippe, it looks a bit complicated. Can you explain how to set up those? Yes, of course. We can do it. So the very first thing which you have to do is to create the domains, right? Here you can put your company domain, right? It suggests you a couple of different variations which are similar to your main domain name. So let's put, for example, apple.com. Okay, so as you can see, the AI suggested a couple of different options. I suggest you buy always .net or .com domains if possible. And as you can see, we can choose a couple of names from here, like for example, I don't know, plusapple.net, quickapple.net, etc. I recommend you using things like get, test, try, buy, etc. But Apple is just so popular that it doesn't have too many options there. When it comes to platform, I suggest you do almost 50-50 split, because depending on the region, there might be places where people use more Microsoft or Google. I know in the US, people mostly prefer Microsoft. So if you're only targeting US market, you could go like 70-30 split. In Europe, I think like 60-40 in favor of Google works pretty well. So provider matching is also very important, because if you send from to Google accounts, you better be using your own Google domains. If you send to Microsoft, use Microsoft. Simple as that. Familiar providers, familiar platforms work always better than the foreign ones. Anyways, let's, for example, choose Google, right? And then we put the primary domain. So if the person, for example, clicks on this +apple.net, he or she will be forwarded to a main page. So here you can include your primary domain. Just as an example, let's put Apple. Okay, it wants the different format. So how to do it? We do it this way. And here we put Apple. All right, then the next step for us would be to put the information for the person who will be owning the domains. Here, as you can see, one of my partners, Harry Konola, I've been purchasing domain on his name, right? Let's again put up some random numbers. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. I just want to show you around the platform. Okay. We click next. And then here, again, for Google specifically, you can upload, for example, the GIFs, and Primeforge allows you to even create the GIFs, which would be animated, right? And it would create some wow effect. Maybe people would even respond to those or open those email with more kind of desire. But here you can put first name, last name, username, and choose the domain. What I recommend is per one domain, you do not create more than 2 or 3 mailboxes, because again, you don't want to put all of the eggs in one basket. So the more horizontally diversified your system, the better deliverability and better longevity you're going to get. So again, let's put some random things here. Let's choose the domain, right? Add the mailbox, and once it's done, okay, let's add another one for a different variation. All right, so we click next, and here you just pay for the domains, which is $12 to $20 per year, dependent on which one you choose. And also the mailboxes, they cost $2.5 or $3.5 per month per mailbox. And so this is, in my opinion, one of the most cost-efficient ways to build a sending infrastructure, right? To buy domains, to set them up. You can configure everything within one platform, as I've said. If you want to add multiple clients, you can do it here. It's not the problem at all. You can also do some calculations to see how many emails you want to send, right? How many kind of mailboxes you need, and it will calculate everything for you. However, I always recommend you to, for example, identify your daily sending volume. So for example, we go 300 emails sent per day. Then per one email, when it's warmed up, you can send 15 emails, meaning that you need 20 mailboxes to hit the volume without any risks for your deliverability. So for example, 300 divided by 15, you get 20, that's your number. So you need 10 domains and 20 mailboxes. That's how it works, right? And the next tool is, of course, Instantly. In Instantly, what you can do is you can add all of those email accounts for the warm-up. You can track deliverability. You can check domain health there. And again, it's much easier to track everything there. And you can also then use all of those email accounts to send your cold emails. So if we go into Instantly, again, that's just one account which we have for our client. I can explain you how to put up the warm-up process correctly so that you do not burn your domains, and after some specific time, those are ready to go and you can use them for your cold email. Okay, so if we go into the settings, right, for one specific account, here we can set up, once again, first name, last name, and add the signature. I just recommend you doing this twice so that you can use this as a custom variable. For example, when you're writing the copy, you can just put signature instead of writing it for the account separately. When it comes to the warm-up process itself, what I recommend you do is you do not put more than 50 emails per one email address per day. A minimum wait time, again, 1, 2, 3 minutes is alright. Campaign slow ramp, you can disable it once the email accounts have been warmed up, but if they are fresh, I would rather enable it. Then when it comes to daily inbox placement, put again, if you send 15 emails per day, put 15 inbox placement tests per day per account. Here, you should also set up your custom tracking domain. That's important. So for custom tracking domain, how it should work, you just need to put this inst dot, then you put the domain name, and then you put .com. That's the value which has to be added into your Google Workspace. But if you just type it out here, you check status and CNAME verified, SSL verified, pretty much this enables warm-up process to work even better, because to your specific domain, there will be a specific tracking domain attached, which makes, again, it less suspicious to all of the spam filters, spam checkers, and it will work much better. Then when it comes to daily warm-up limit, again, 10-15 is good. Reply rate, put 30%. You don't want to do 100% because nobody replies to all of the emails they get, right? So we want to look as human as possible, and increase per day, 1-2 is all right. So within 2 weeks of the warm-up, you should have a really great sending accounts to be used. And when it comes to advanced settings, right, you can enable emulation, so AI will be looking through the email, right, of what you've written to make it look human-like. Weekdays only, up to you. You can do it or not do it. And you can definitely warm custom tracking domain if you want to. Again, this increases the deliverability. And when it comes to open rate, spam protection, mark important, just put whatever number you want, just don't put it too low or too high. So I would say open rate, for example, 60%, spam protection, let's make it 90, and mark important is 45. So this looks really great. Let's also enable warm custom tracking domain, and let's enable read emulation. Save, right? And here we have it. The emails are being warmed up. So you can see we have 100% health score. Everything from 95 to 100 is considered great. If it's lower, then think about what the problem might be. Maybe you haven't enabled the custom tracking domain or something else happens. So I recommend you use, again, trusted providers and then instantly for the warm-up. Again, you can also do, for example, Maildoso. Maildoso is not kind of Outlook or Google provider. They are more of like custom SMTP, if I'm not mistaken it. They are doing like custom email accounts. Again, that's provider number 3 for you. So we have Google, Microsoft, and custom Maildoso. You can also use those to have the infrastructure as diversified as possible. So again, you never start cold outreach with fresh domains. You use warm-up to build sender reputation and trust. Start small, 3 to 5 warm-up emails per day, and gradually increase them up until 15. That's what I recommend. Keep warm-up running even after launch. So you still want to keep the warm-up going to make sure that your reputation is always on top, and give it at least 2 weeks before launch. Again, just give Google filters time to consider you a reliable sender, and then it will be much easier for you to get things going. So that has been it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, this topic is kind of difficult to explain. There are a lot of different nuances which you have to follow. However, I picked up the tools which are really simple and easy to implement, like Primeforge and Instantly. So within Primeforge, we get our sending accounts, we get the domains, we set up names for them, we set up billing and everything, and then within Instantly, we warm them up. We make sure that they are of great quality. The health score is always 100%, and then directly and instantly, we can use all of those sending accounts for the outreach itself. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, because there might be something I didn't cover. I will definitely reply you to those. And again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope to see you soon. Ciao.